One of the best things that you can add to your homestead is something that's multi-purpose. Take a worm bed, for instance. Not only will it give you plenty of worms to go fishing with to put meat in the freezer, but it'll also give you that worm tea and the worm castings to boost the garden growth, along with helping you break down some of that garden waste and gives you some extra protein for the chickens once in a while. They're super easy to set up. I built this one 2 years ago. It worked great, but I'm going to make some modifications to hopefully make it work a little bit better. So I'll bring you along, and if you want to build one yourself, maybe you can kind of get a good idea of how to do that. Okay, one of the first things you need to get your hand on is some plastic tubs. I bought black because it was cheapest at the time. Try to get something a little bit lighter if you can. It'll help with the heat in there. The first thing you'll need is a bottom. And what you do, you drill a hole and you add your spigot on it. And this allows your other tubs to sit in there and all that fluid to go to the bottom. I put these braces in here to keep it up so it doesn't, just sit down in the muck. Along the way, it's going to build up that worm tea and it'll run downhill and go out. On your second and third tub, or potentially fourth if you want it, you're going to drill a bunch of holes in the bottom. You're also going to drill some air holes at the top on the side. And that'll allow the worms to pass through those holes as they're breaking down that material and going down deeper to the next batch of material. They can pass through that. It also allows the fluid to drain down. You're also going to want to build a stand for it to set on. I just slapped this one together out of 2x4s and 2x6s. As you can see, I built it to lean slightly downhill toward the spout. Pro tip, I added some PVC down at the bottom, and that allows me to set those little legs into some little tuna cans full of oil, and that'll keep the ants out of it for the most part. But we're going to make some modifications to that too to hopefully keep the rain out and keep that oil from seeping out onto the ground and stuff. It helps to set it up on some little block pads that'll just keep it up out of the dirt, make it a little bit easier to clean up around and stuff. If one blade of grass reaches up and touches that frame, they have a bridge and they can, just take over the bed in no time. So watch out for that. So I have a way that I'm going to try to eliminate a lot of that. I'm going to burn all the way around this frame with my torch and try to kill a lot of that grass and keep it from coming back as quick. And hopefully that'll help keep those ants out of there. Now, if you don't have one of these torches, you definitely need to get yourself one. They're handy for all kinds of stuff, especially around the garden. About 40 bucks at Harbor Freight. Can't beat it. Weed killer will work, but it kind of cremates the roots and it doesn't come back as quick. Okay, I added the oil cans under the legs. What I did, these are just small coffee can lids. I cut a little hole so it would slide over the pipe, and I pushed it down just far enough to leave a gap so that the ants have to go up into the oil and get to the leg, which they won't do. But if they did, they would have to cross over this lid to get on the top. But this is also going to shed the water off of the top to keep from running that oil out onto the ground and stuff. Now, originally, I had it so that all you would do is let that fluid build up and you would open your spigot and get it out as you needed. But the problem with that is it builds up pretty quickly, and sometimes if you're not paying attention, you just flood that lower layer. But also that muck settles and it'll stop this spigot up over time. It's better to just go ahead and let it run on out into something. So what I'm going to do, this is actually a 3-liter bottle, but you can use a milk jug or whatever you have. I just found this one, and I cut a little hole so that my hose can actually slide into that. I'm just going to fasten it off there. Not even going to tighten it way down or anything, just snug it up good. Let that bottle rest. And as that fluid comes out, now I can see how much I have. And when I get a quart or so in there, I can go ahead and use it instead of letting it evaporate and just turn to slush. So hopefully that will help out quite a bit. Now all we got to do is add our compostables. So I'm going to start with a bed of grass clippings. Level those out. I've got a couple of different types of paper shreddings. Water that in. Now what you can do is order a bag of worms offline and get a big bundle of them to go in here, and that'll really get things kicked off. But I had these left over from fishing the other day, so I'm just going to add these guys in there too until I get some more, and let these guys settle in and get to work. Now what you do, you get this one full and get it loaded down with worms, and you're actually going to take it back off and start another one on the bottom and put this one on the top. The worms will burrow down as they start reproducing and stuff, and as they eat all this material up, they'll go further down to get some fresh material, and that'll leave you with good worm castings here on the top. Then all you do is put the lid on, keep an eye on it, and you'll be good to go.